Welcome to episode 20 of our third series on the surnames and DNA of early Appalachian and Southern families. On today's episode, we're taking a look at a family name that's virtually disappeared from its original homeland. We'll also be looking into an occupational name that had practitioners long before the Bible was written. Because I'm researching requested families, it's purely coincidental that there's a strong German and Swiss presence today. I hope you'll join me. Wilhite or Wilhite, or if you're in Germany, Wilhite and Wilhite. Every once in a while I get a request for a name that has virtually disappeared from its homeland. Such is the case with Wilhite and Wilhite. These German names share common roots and have both been virtually lost in German name books. No doubt immigration and World War I and World War II took their tolls on these families. Wilhite and Wilhite are discussed in the Dictionary of American Family Names, but they're missing from Hans Ballow's book on German family names. At any rate, it means dweller on wild and uncultivated land, which, by the way, has also virtually disappeared from Germany, when you consider that Germany has a population density of 625 people per square mile. Compare that to Kentucky with its 114 people per square mile, or Ohio with its larger 282 people per square mile. I did find Y chromosome results for about 15 men who traced their paternal line through either spelling of the name. As one would expect, German DNA is prominent. There are a couple of IP37 subclades, but the largest cluster belongs to subclades of RU106, like RBY11409. There are 3 men who don't match anyone else in the Wilhite or Wilhite DNA study. There are quite a few Wilhites or Wilhites in the genealogical records, including in Missouri, where quite a few Germans settled. The earliest Wilhite immigrant that I could find in Appalachia of the South was Tobias Wilhite. He was born in 1708, died in 1762. He spelled his name apparently both ways. Nonetheless, he immigrated from Schweigern in what is today Germany and started a family in Orange County, Virginia. He married Elizabeth Broyles in 1758. They had at least 12 young'uns, including their son Conrad, who no doubt knew some of my ancestors in Anderson County, Tennessee, where he died in 1806. I'm confident that Wilhite or Wilhite is an antebellum family of Germanic roots. Number 2, Hardman, Herdman, or Herdsman. Herdman and Hardman are similar to Wilhite and Wilhite. They're distinct names with common roots though, whereas Wilhite and Wilhite have origin stories from what is today Germany. Hardman and Herdman are Old English. Of course, Old English language, the Old English language that is, came to Britain from northwestern Germany, an area called Saxony, in the 5th century that is. So it shouldn't be any surprise that the Hardman name is also found in Germany. Most of us are familiar with the occupation of a shepherd. Well, herdman and herdsman are interchangeable with shepherd, and that was an occupation that was around way before the Bible was written. Hardman is another way of writing herdman. Hardeman, which we'll see in a couple of minutes, is sometimes written as an alternate form of herdman and herdsman, but it has a different or distinct historical geography. I found Herdman among the Ulster surnames, that's specifically County Antrim in Northern Ireland. Hardman, not Herdman, seems to be linguistically and culturally English. The earliest lines of Hardman that I could find in the colonies came with the immigration of a German fellow named Joseph Michael Hardman II. Born around 1745, died around 1792. He settled in Maryland and married a lady named Elizabeth. I don't trust the veracity of her name that's written in her records. Wehaga? I've never seen anything like it at all. She wasn't Native American either, by the way. Their son Joseph III moved to Roane County in what is today West Virginia. Joseph III married Dorcas Riddle, and they had a lot of young'uns. You know, at one time the name Dorcas or Darcus was very popular in the South. I have at least 3 multiple great-grandmothers with that name. Sorry I wasn't able to locate any specific DNA information on Hardman and Herdman, but I did for Hardeman and Herdman. Hardeman, which I'll talk about shortly. It's important to be open-minded about the spellings of last names, though. I've seen members of the same family spell their last name 4 different ways in the same rural North Carolina cemetery. The bard himself, William Shakespeare, used at least 6 different spellings for his family name, and he was quite good at writing. Number 3, Hardeman or Hardeman. As I was just saying, while Hardeman and Hardman have different historical geographies and are hence different surnames, I have to admit that DNA and a paper trail would be useful in determining when and if your line joined or broke away from the other written forms of the name. Obviously, there are a lot of gray areas here, so I'm being as careful as I can be, if not confusing, in telling you what I found. The family name Hardeman originated in northern England. It was given to a man who worked for a bloke named Hardy, so it meant Hardy's man. Consider the case of the English immigrant John Hardeman, born in 1654, died in 1711. He greeted the world in Bristol, England. By the way, that's the namesake of Bristol, Tennessee, up here in Upper East Tennessee. He was born in 1654. He said goodbye to planet Earth in 1711 while living in Henrico, and I always get this name wrong. People tell me how to spell it, but I'm not really sure what they're trying to tell me in terms of pronunciation. So I Googled it and asked Google how to pronounce it, and it said Henrico. So I'm sticking with that for right now. Anyway, by 1738, his descendants were spelling their last name as Hardeman and Hardman without the E between the D and the M. If you're a Hardman and you have your Y chromosome tested, you might consider joining Family Tree DNA's Hardeman DNA project to see if you have matches among those fellows. As of today, the project has 5 members. Their haplogroups are not matched to each other, though. That doesn't necessarily mean that there was a lot of hanky-panky in the old corn crib, because Hardy most likely had more than one employee, and there were likely hundreds of men who herded livestock, sheep, cattle, so forth. Still, I'm confident that your antebellum line will lead you to either England, Ireland, Scotland, or Germany. Number 4, Gladfelter, and Gladfelter. The actual request that I received was for Gladfelter, but like the names we've covered so far today, it has a twisty historical geography. As such, it invites a broader discussion. If you have never visited Switzerland, the ancestral home of the Gladfelter family and one of my ancestors, the Furrows, you're missing out. I've been to many places in Switzerland that would have made John Denver write a song about being Alps high, not Rocky Mountain high, but Alps high. I say this as a Colorado Rocky Mountains property owner myself. My 7 acres sit in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains with views of 14ers. But I would trade all 7 acres for a half-acre lot in the Swiss or French Alps. They're beautiful, folks. In terms of DNA, the subclades that have been found downstream are downstream of RU106, which is generally considered to be a Germanic subclade of RM269. As with a separate subclade RL21, which is associated with Celtic countries or Celtic groups, it belongs to the larger R1b haplogroup. Among the first families of Gladfelter that I could find in the American South was introduced by Felix Gladfelter. He was born in Zurich, Switzerland around 1727. He married Maria Sarah Meyer in New York in October 1750. They moved to Pennsylvania and had at least one son in York. Johann George Gladfelter was born there in 1751. Like the family of Daniel Boone, they traveled down the Great Wagon Road through Virginia and settled in North Carolina. Their children became established in Davidson, that's a city, North Carolina, as well as Rowan County in North Carolina. At the end of the day, I'm confident that the Gladfelter family is antebellum and of German-Swiss origin. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today. I hope you got something meaningful out of the discussion and will join me again here on The Vantage Point. If you'd like a free copy of the list of names of families that we've covered thus far, write to me at vantagepoint22@gmail.com and I'll send it to you ASAP. Until I see you again, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.